Hello, and welcome back to K-Tech Designs. My name is Seth. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to convert your logo into an SVG file, import it into FreeCAD, and make a part with it. This can be really helpful if you're trying to make promotional 3D prints, or it can be expanded to converting other kind of images that you want to turn into a 3D print. It's going to be pretty straightforward. We'll go through how to use Inkscape to convert your image into a vector file and then import it into FreeCAD and convert the sketch. And with that, let's get started. So with FreeCAD open in the Start menu, let's create a new part, change our workbench to part design, create a new body, create a sketch. Let's select the top plane, XY plane. I'm going to create a circle, which represents the size that I want this part to be. And that dimension is on a diameter 100 millimeters. Come on. Close that. Now I'm doing things a little out of order here. So let's pause this and let's go over to Inkscape. Okay, so with Inkscape open, let's go to File, Document Properties, and I like to switch my paper layout to landscape. Hold Control and scroll to zoom in. That's weird. Well, there seems to be some kind of conflict with my recording software and Inkscape where I can't zoom in and out, so I won't be able to do that in this tutorial. We'll see how it goes. With your new document open and your page layout changed, go to File, go to Import, and navigate to your image. Where did I put this? Okay, so navigate to your image. Larger files, I think, will produce better results, but you can still work with whatever you've got. I'm going to use the small icon on this one just so I don't have to, well, I'll use the larger one. They'll both work. So once you do that, you'll get this window here that asks you some questions about how you want to manage the import. I've been using the default. These settings work for me, and of course you want it embedded. You can also click this box if you don't want to see this message again. Click OK. Now if you want to expand this or shrink it, you don't want to do it like this just by clicking it. What you want to do is hold Control and stretch it so that it stays with the correct aspect ratio. Oh my goodness. My recording software is definitely interfering, so I'm going to have to use a different recording software. And that means I won't be able to see my mouse clicks, but hopefully we can process this anyway. Oh. Okay, we're back. It's very strange. Not sure what happened there. No matter. Let's make this really big because I don't need the outline. I just need the this part here. Okay, with your image in place, and it doesn't really matter, you can still move it around. We want to go up to Path. And we want to go to Trace Bitmap. Now this is going to give you some options to make the image turn out the way you want, but the most important thing to click is Live Preview so you can see what is coming up. I'm going to have the background removed if it will work with me here. Okay, we'll stick with brightness cutoff and then we'll process this afterwards. Click OK. Now the image is already created. We'll just have to move the JPEG to get it out. Close that, move this out of the way, and it didn't work. There we went. Okay, so you should not have these issues that I'm having. It's just my recording software is being really weird with Inkscape. You should be able to click OK and have it work first time. It did not remove my background, but we'll work on that. Okay, so now here's your image. You can see that it's not really crisp and clean, and I believe that is because my source image is low resolution. I've done this with other images before, and they can turn out much crisper, much cleaner. But we'll just leave that for now. I can still use it. Okay. So the next thing you're going to want to do, we need to go to fill and stroke. Now the way you get to fill and stroke is through object. Go to fill and stroke. I have it up already. We want to remove this fill, okay, because we just want the outline. Then we go to the stroke, and we want to click, and then we click the outline option there. You could go to your stroke and change some of the features on it, like your line type. Wow, that was weird. Line type, line width, different kind of joints. But we don't need to do that right now because we're just interested in this. So now that this has been created, we want to go up to our path. And we want to tell the object to be a path. Okay. You might also want to do stroke to path. And that'll get you into actually editing things. So I might want to actually delete this outer ring here. I just remembered that I actually don't want any of that deleted because it's going to help me center the image in FreeCAD. We do want this deleted. Okay. Now, I actually want to add a little bit of a tagline here. I don't need to add the rectangular underline here. I can do that in FreeCAD, but I want to add some text, which you can do in FreeCAD, but it's going to look much better here, and it's going to be easier. So I'm going to just put in designs, and then we need to all right, I'm going to have to finish this part in this other recording app. So I'm back. We've got our text here. Remember to hold Control to make it bigger. We're going to eyeball it. That's about good. Now I want to change the font. So I need to go up to Text, Text and Font. Well, I thought I was in Text and Font. Let's change this to Apple T. That's the font I've been using. All right, and then we need to have this set the same way. No fill, stroke path on the outer edges. And then, of course, we need to... Yeah, that's still that way. So we need to take this and convert it. Okay. Now that that's converted, I like the way that looks. We'll save it. Just going to save it to my desktop. Make sure it's an SVG. That will be the default. Hit save. Just going to minimize that for now. Okay, now we're back to FreeCAD. What we want to do is go to File, Import, go to your save location, look for your SVG file, click Open, and you want to select Import SVG. Okay, and it's going to plop it in there. I just remembered I don't actually need these paths because this isn't exactly centered. Anyway, I didn't need that. Okay, so what it's going to do is it's going to give you a lot of paths here. So every letter is a path. Every shape is a path. We don't want to use these paths to make our features. We're going to convert them, and we need to change the shape and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this one, though. We don't really need that. So we need to select select your first one, hold shift, select the bottom. That'll select everything. And now we need to move over to the draft workbench. So with those parts selected, we want to come over here and we can move it into place roughly. Okay. Select them all again. And you can see that this is too big for this shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to scale the image. It's going to ask you for a global point. I just leave it at 0, 0, 0, 0. Click that. Now this will let you scale the image or scale your shape. And it's going to create a clone of everything. And this is important because this will help you convert everything into a single sketch. I'm just going to play with the numbers here. We probably want it to be like 80%. That's pretty close. 0.7. Yeah, 0.7 is probably what I want. Make sure it creates a clone, uniform scaling. Click OK. And you'll see it created a clone path. Now what I can do with this, let's hide this so get that out of the way. I come over here and I can convert bidirectionally between a draft object and a sketch. Click that. Now you see we've got a sketch here. Let's hide that. Of our image. And we can move that around too. But this is important because we need to take this sketch and we need to move it into our body. I technically don't need these anymore and I can delete them, but I'm just going to leave them up there for now. So let's move this over a little bit more. That looks good to me. Get this out of the way. And let's go back to our part design. Excellent. So let's go ahead and model the coaster at this point. I want to create a new sketch. So let's hide that sketch. I'll leave this one visible. That's fine. A new sketch on the front plane. And we're going to use a polyline like this. All right. I'm going to create some symmetric points. You can see that the, I'll just close that for now. This sketch is on the top plane and I'm modeling this where the bottom of the object is on the top plane. That's okay. We can change the position. Well, I should be able to change position. I can't change attachment on this one, can I? Yeah. So actually, we need to move this down. Now let's make these symmetric about this axis. Scoot that in. And then we'll make these symmetric. Oops. Now the thickness of this part is 3.2 millimeters. The overall width is 100. I should say diameter. The overall diameter is 100. This inner diameter is 76. And these should be at a 45-degree angle. And then the overall height is 6.5. Okay, that's good. Now we're going to revolve this part about this axis. Yes, that's correct. Click OK. It looks like I actually made that a little bit too big. So we're going to have to scale that one more time. I actually should have made this 76. So let's go back to draft. Let's not create a clone. I'm going to turn this grid off because I cannot see what I'm doing. And we shouldn't have to scale it by too much. Position looks good. I think 0.75 looks good as well. Okay, the object cannot be scaled directly. Please do a clone. Okay, I guess it wants me to do a clone. That was 0.75. Well, I guess I'm going to delete that sketch then. Take this sketch, convert it. We'll drag it up. Plop it in there. This needs to go away again. And we can go back to our part workbench. Okay. There we go. Now let's add in our little line between these two. So that's going to be on the top plane. And this is just going to be a little rectangle spanning about the full length of the text. I want to make these symmetric. And the overall length should be roughly 69. Maybe 67 looks a little cleaner. And then I want to make the height, we'll say 2.5. And then the thickness, about 2. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so that's ready. Now, to make this look like a gear, I'm going to create a sketch on the top plane. Create some reference geometry there. We're going to cut out a little circle. Make our 2 circles here. I guess it's not cutting out a circle, it's cut out a little tooth profile, but I'm cutting out the gap, not making a positive tooth shape and then revolving it. We'll do it this way. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. I am going to go back into the sketch, but what I want to do is change the attachment. So you go into attachment position and about the Z. I want to make it as high as the, well, it's going to be a little less, isn't it? Because it sits underneath. So I need to subtract 3.2. There we go. That's right on where I want it to be. And then we'll go back into that sketch. And I'll add my dimensions. So this should be 100. I know it's 100, so I'll just punch in 100. Let's trim it like that. Oh, I should trim that as well. Let's make you 4.25 from that edge. Okay. We can also trim that arc like that. Now let's make these equal in length. Let's make the angle between them 45. Let's make this distance, make that 4 millimeters. This is the fix a length of a line or distance between a line and a vertex. It's not strictly horizontal or vertical. All right, that looks good. The last constraint to add is an angle between those, between this line and this line, and that is an angle of 10 degrees. And that's all we need for that. Go ahead and close it. Cut through all. You could do up to first, but I'm going to go ahead and do through all. Let's add some fillets to these corners. So now we got our pocket, got our nice little fillet. So we're going to take those two, and we need to make a polar pattern. The number of instances we want is 14. 14 of those bad boys. Excellent. Click OK. Let's add a chamfer on that surface, or that edge rather. I think it wants 0.8. Results in an invalid shape. Let's try something here. Let's make that bigger. There we go. Click OK. Actually, well, yeah. Let's hide that. We don't need that anymore. I'm going to add another fillet on those two edges there. 1 millimeter is fine. Okay, so now the final step is to take our logo. Let's do a short, shallow cut. Let's say like 0.5. Reversed. Not reversed. Click OK. And we'll take this and do the same. 0.5. Click OK. And that's it. That's how you convert a logo into a promotional part. All right, so that's going to do it for this tutorial. I hope that was informative and clear for you guys. Hopefully you can use it to convert your own company logos into vector files, which you can use to make 3D printed parts like this one. You can even use it to create CNC paths if you're familiar with how to do that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.